So earlier in the show, we looked at the myth that you have to have a college education and go into massive debt to be a successful person. We've also looked at the carbon myth and how more carbon dioxide is bad for the planet. And now I want to do this with my good friend here, Anthony Gucciardi. Look at the cancer myth and that we can never, ever find this cure for cancer. And now there's this big PBS documentary, Cancer, the Emperor of All Maladies, produced by someone who I've actually respected in the work he's done. Ken Burns is executive producing this. But it really doesn't look at the causes of cancer. It only looks at the people who've fought around for these big pharma cures. Anthony, what's going on with this? Where are they going? Where are they missing out in the big picture on this documentary?
This documentary really reminds me of the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Remember the Buckets for the Cure?
Right.
They worked with KFC to create buckets of
right.
fried chicken for the cure. And if you actually,
I forgot about that one, but
yeah, exactly. They basically were raising money to treat cancer and research cancer and everything like that. But what they weren't telling you about were the real issues like BPA. Over 130 studies just on the relationship between BPA, bisphenol A, which is a plastic chemical in water bottles and other plastic items, between BPA and breast cancer, 130 different studies.
Wow.
And, you know, it's kind of like Angelina Jolie chopping off her breasts. Instead of telling young women about BPA,
right,
or about, you know, GMOs, or about any of the things that we constantly come in contact with, like high fructose corn syrup, which contains mercury. The list goes on and on and on. No one wants to talk about that because that's not sexy. It's much easier to say you have a gene and you're doomed and there's nothing you can do because that alleviates any actual action that we need to be taking.
But we're going to fight and spend millions of dollars on these treatments and give big pharma run of the mill to produce all these toxic treatments that may or may not help you. And that's what we're going to be concerned with. We're not going to ever be concerned with the cause. And that's what this documentary focuses on. It focuses on all these scientists who've worked for years and have created toxic cocktails to put into kids. And now we've really worked on childhood cancer. We can actually treat it now. But at what cost? I mean, some of these treatments, they admit, even cause brain damage to these poor kids. But nobody's ever looking at the causes of cancer.
Well, it might kill the cancer, but it'll also kill you. It's really a fight to survive the treatment more so than the fight to survive the cancer at many levels. But we could also look at, no one draws the parallels between these concoctions that they're making that they admit is toxic in this documentary, which has some good points, really, and things like Prozac. Because, you know, in the 80s, they knew when they ran the test that Prozac was actually leading to suicide, horrible things like maybe crashing a plane into a mountain, for example. Of course, I'm talking about the fact that the co-pilot was on antidepressants at that recent flight crash on purpose, where he did it with some type of motive. But no one talks about that. And Harvard researchers came out and said that actually, yes, Prozac was causing suicide and that the public was being treated like guinea pigs. That was from 2004 on BBC. It was a professor, actually, and he was speaking out against it. Now, the cancer industry obviously is on the same parallel with Eli Lilly and company who made Prozac. They're making millions and millions, if not billions of dollars on all of this while we're sitting there. And the best part is they're disabling our ability to do anything when they say it is our genes, just as you talked about.
Right.
Because if I were to tell you that you can prevent cancer, and it is genetic at some levels to a very small degree, but it's actually environmental factors that trigger those
triggers
genes.
The genes, yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Then you would actually have responsibility to do something about it. You could not go out and eat garbage and eat McDonald's and, you know, drink water bottles full of BPA, or you might actually get breast cancer.
Or drink Mountain Dew or some other soft drink over and over
But it's
again.
a lot easier if, as a big pharma representative, I come out and say, the fight for cancer is so hard. It's genetic. We're researching it. Give us the money. It's actually easier for people to give money and donate money and buy into this than to actually take control of their lives. So that's why people just dislike very much so in many ways. And there's angry comments on videos like this, as much as there is good comments, more so, obviously good comments. But there's that 10% that are just diehard against this because it actually means that they have to take control of their life, which is very hard.
They can't just put on a pink ribbon and go, I'm helping.
Right.
I'm making a difference.
They can't buy just buy KFC.
Yeah.
And, you know, it also,
Exactly.
in terms of solutions, so we're not just sitting here attacking the cancer industry, which also has no solutions. I would encourage everyone to look up research on things like turmeric and iodine or whatever, but mainly let's talk about turmeric for a second. And just as this is going by memory, I believe that 98% of the cancer cells that they actually went up against in turmeric, the brain tumor shrunk, I mean, everything was actually drastically resolving in mice. And then olive oil, that's actually the most impressive one recently. They put olive oil in a petri dish with cancer cells, and in less than 1 hour, the cancer cells were killed by the olive oil compound. And we've known for a really long time that the olive oil compound is very powerful. But when they put it in a petri dish, it killed the cancer cells. So shouldn't that be in the documentary?
Right. No, they want to focus on these scientists who sit in labs, and it all looks real sexy. You know, they're putting things in vials and spinning stuff around in centrifuges, and they're really working really hard to spend all that money that we've given them for cancer research. Was it Nixon declared a war on cancer in 1971? Where are we now? 500,000 a year die. It costs 50,000 at least per treatment. So you estimate the millions of people that get cancer each year, they're diagnosed. 50,000 per head. I mean, that's billions and billions of dollars going in to fund this, plus the research on top of it. Do they really want a cure? I don't think they do. I think they want a treatment. I think they'll cure maybe 10, 15% or get people in remission. Those are the lucky ones. But those who aren't, they're just being put in this mill, housing, paying for all this insane amount of poisons and toxins that they want to put in the body. I mean, describe, what is chemotherapy like for people who don't know?
Well, let's talk about chemotherapy for a second. To give you a good example, one of the studies is that turmeric and iodine block chemotherapy from working.
Oh my God.
Right? So
it'd be horrible.
So you have a nutrient that everyone knows. Turmeric is beyond a superfood, right? It does so many things to your body. If you're taking something that's super healthful and amazing for you and it's blocking chemotherapy, what does that tell you?
Yeah,
right.
Chemotherapy is not good for you.
Exactly. But the documentary admits that. It admits that it's extremely toxic. They're basically just saying, which is the saddest part about this documentary and everyone who watches it, yes, we have no idea what to do, so we actually have to basically kill you.
Right.
And they admit it will probably kill you if your body can't handle it. And that's why, 10, 15%, like you were saying, do actually fully recover pretty quickly from all this because they have a really powerful immune system and their body can rebuild at a cellular level really well and everything. But they are actually poisoning your body to the level that the cancer cells are dying to.
Right,
it's
exactly.
it's like you have, some type of toxic stuff in your hands, like a bunch of oil barrels, on old oil barrels, and you jump in the fire too.
Yeah.
It's burning everything so that the cancer cells die.
We found black mold in your bathroom. We're going to burn down the house and see if that gets rid of the black mold.
Exactly.
And if that gets rid of the black mold, then you're cured.
Right.
That's the mentality of it. It's burning down the house instead of how do we prevent it? And then are there natural ways that we could treat this that aren't? Because cancer's been around. It's not, but it's never been around in these levels. And we've never seen it at this level now. And it is epidemic. And I mean, it is the emperor of all maladies, as they call it. But what they want to do is divert you with this sideshow, this really well-produced sideshow with millions and millions of dollars and billions of dollars going into this. And with no real results, no real measurable results that we can all depend on. And what would you suggest for people to read and learn more about what they could do if they do find themselves with cancer? I mean, how they could help themselves before they even go to a doctor and get scared into all these toxic treatments.
This is such an old medical system documentary. And I know that because I know many actual MDs that would recommend the same thing I'm about to recommend. And it's to go to the National Library of Medicine and type in, preventing cancer, or type in some of the herbs and everything that you've heard about, like olive oil, turmeric, iodine, you name it, ginger, garlic has sulfur compounds in there that absolutely devastate cancer. There's so much. And this is PubMed, okay? PubMed is the National Library of Medicine made available to the public. It's all of the top journals, everything. It all goes through PubMed. So it's not like you're a conspiracy theorist if you Google olive oil and cancer, which all the mainstream media admits it does kill the cancer in the petri dish. But on PubMed, you can verify everything. And if you type it in, you have conclusive proof that all of these things prevent cancer, and it's thousands and thousands of different nutrients and substances. So it ultimately will answer your question. And then more so, there's so many MDs that now use this and will tell their patients, hey, you should be doing this to prevent it now, instead of actually waiting way down the line when you do get cancer, because it's the last response of your body. Your genes do play a role. It's just your genes screaming out for help. And if you keep bashing your body over and over again, you are going to be sick. I mean, that is the definition of disease. It's, getting rid of your natural ability to defend yourself.
Totally agree. I mean, it's just amazing at what goes on out there. I mean, from the global warming to going to college to cancer, the media, the mainstream media has one side of the story. And it's never live your life with freedom and creativity and independence. It's be part of the system, be a slave to the system, help fund the system through all this stuff, and it's really disgusting. Anthony, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. And that's going to do it for our show tonight. Thanks to Anthony Gucciardi and Joe Biggs and Leanne McAdoo for helping out with this news broadcast. And like I said, this is what it's all about. The mainstream media wants to portray one side of the story. They never want to show you both sides and look at things objectively and openly. But that's what we do here at Infowars.com. And you can help out with that by becoming a member of PrisonPlanet.tv. It's your membership that helps fund this studio, helps fund putting our reporters out in the field. Everything we do here is with that subscription to PrisonPlanet.tv that you can share with up to 20 people. So you got 20 Info Warriors for the price of one. And that's about all we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time, 7 p.m. Central, PrisonPlanet.tv.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
You are watching the InfoWars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.